One of the 10 priorities under discussion at the G7 summit in Schloss Elmau in Germany, that's coming up 7th to 8th of June, is women's economic empowerment. Now, how are you planning to place the SRHR agenda within this discussion around women's economic empowerment? Maybe you can explain a bit more.
I think the place is pretty clear. There can't be a women's economic empowerment without full access to sexual and reproductive health and rights. However, if this will be captured also in the Elmau Declaration, I have some doubts. However, it is clear, and there was a parliamentarian conference in the run-up to the G8 in Germany, where the parliamentarians coming from more than 50 countries made it very clear that economic empowerment is what we all need for women's empowerment and gender issues. However, without sexual reproductive health and rights, it can't be achieved.
And this specifically is about issues such as self-employment and vocational training in developing countries, isn't it?
Yes, it's also a little bit about capacity development, how they call it. It's also about reducing barriers like legalization of, for example, just legalize marriages only above the age. It is, but it will not, that's exactly the truth. They will focus on the one hand on the industrialized countries, but they will be also focused on the situation in so-called developing countries.
Obviously a very important issue for DSW, but I just wondered whether SRHR was really genuinely considered as a bottleneck and whether there was a consensus around that being a bottleneck for issues such as self-employment and vocational training.
From my discussion within the German government officials and within Germany as such, I do see that people do realize that it is a precondition that needs to be achieved. However, that is something they don't want to explicitly raise in the document. However, I think it's needed because, as we know internationally, it's not fully accepted.
And so maybe a slight reticence from the German government. I mean, does this mean that they perhaps won't put their money where their mouths are and actually finance this adequately in the declaration and policies emanating from this G7 declaration?
No, I think it's just because they want to set a clear focus and say we focus on, and they know that sexual reproductive health and right is a very complex concept as such, as well as to really to come up with achievements would go a little bit beyond.
And can you count on the personal support of Chancellor Merkel on this?
Yes, I know Chancellor Merkel personally, and I fully trust her in this regard.
So we have to watch this space with regards to the Elmau outcomes.
We will.